Hello, and thank you for joining us for the Essential Thrombocythemia Alternative Treatments Discussion Group. I want to start by disclosing that no one on any of these discussions or calls are medical professionals or medical doctors, and we are in no way, shape, or form saying that you should do this. We are not advising you or recommending you to try alternative treatments. This is just our own personal stories, our journey with trying different alternative treatments, what our successes and failures have been, and what we believe to be working to help manage our conditions as well as our platelet counts. Some of us are taking the hydroxyurea or the anagrelide or interferon, and others of us, like myself, are not taking any of the recommended chemotherapy for this blood disorder and have chosen to use alternatives to keep our platelet counts under control until, of course, they exceed a certain level where our hematologist will then recommend that we must go on those things. So we are not recommending that anyone not follow their doctor's orders and just go straight alternative medicine. Those decisions are entirely up to you, and we are in no way suggesting or recommending that you do that. So again, these are just discussions about our own personal stories and our own personal situations, how we have managed our conditions or helped manage our symptoms using alternative treatments or natural and herbal medicine and or dietary changes and lifestyle changes. So again, thank you for being here. We truly appreciate you joining our discussions and watching our videos. Please like, subscribe, and share. And we look forward to seeing you on future calls, hopefully, and we hope you learn a lot from our discussions. Thank you so much for being here. Have a great day. Hey, Clark, how you been?
I'm good, Jessica. How are you?
I'm
I'm,
good.
I'm listening to you, and I got my TV on mute because I'm watching the Schwab golf tournament. So I
Oh,
can't
nice. You're multitasking
Yes,
today.
yep.
That's awesome. So you and your wife are both doing fine after COVID.
Yeah. She recovered like quicker. I'm still about 85. I still got like sort of rasp, cough here and there. It's not as bad as it was a week ago. I'm still like tired, but not like I can't do anything. I just, when my body says, "Hey, you're tired, go to bed," it's 8:30. I just go to bed,
Yeah,
So,
respect that
yep,
and get some rest. That's good.
yep, yep.
Yeah.
So appetite's back, taste and smells back.
Oh,
So
really? That quickly? A lot of my friends that have had it, it's taken months for their taste and smell to come back.
yeah. So I'm
That's
happy
awesome.
about that. No fun eating if you can't taste and smell,
Yeah,
right?
right. I mean, that's one way to diet, I suppose. I mean, if you can't taste or smell it, it's like, I just need nutrients. Give me a granola bar.
Yeah.
Who cares what it tastes like? So,
Thanks for asking.
oh, of course. Yeah. I mean, I think all of us are curious about, the implications of what can happen for someone with our condition, if we get COVID. And, you and your wife and also Monica have given me a lot of hope because I know you guys have all had COVID and have recovered just fine. And so that obviously makes me feel a lot better about it.
Yeah. I talked to my
Hi, Jackie.
MPM specialist, Dr. Rossetti, and I got blood tests. I get them every 2 months now. So you never know what's going to look like after you've been sick. But
Right.
everything was still within, the acceptable range. My red blood count was down a little bit, but that's, they say that happens when you get COVID. You just got to build that up again, So, and then they also say you got some antibodies now too, which are supposed to be long lasting, which is encouraging.
That's great. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I did look up some research on that because I had some friends of mine that were asking, like, should I get the vaccine if I've already had COVID? And I'm like, they keep saying on the news that you still need to do it. But then when I looked up all the information I could find on the CDC and whatnot, I mean, all I could actually find were studies proving that you actually do have antibodies for a minimum of 5 to 7 months afterwards. And the only reason they don't know if you have them any further is because it's a new situation and they don't have enough, long-term study research to know that. So, so that's also encouraging too. So
yeah, someone told me today that they read something on, I forget where. I told them to send it to me, but they were saying that the antibodies are lifelong, which would be cool.
That would be
So,
great.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it doesn't,
Now
it
I know
doesn't
there's
make,
new versions and new strains of it, you know,
yeah,
that we may have to worry about, but
it doesn't make sense though, once you get it, like some people I know who had it and then got the vaccine, got like super sick after it, getting the vaccine. So why,
right.
you know,
Yeah, and that's why I didn't want to take the risk because I had multiple family members that actually got very sick after their second shot.
yeah,
And I just thought, I've worked so hard to get where I'm at. I just don't want
and
to take a chance to get sick and mess it up. So I
absolutely.
didn't do it, especially after having just had this car accident. All my inflammatory markers and my platelets and everything have been elevated since then. So I was like, nah, I think I'll wait. I mean, I'm not in a rush. It's going to be there in a year from now. I'll still be able
Yeah.
to go get it if I want it. I just want to take my time and think about it before I make that decision.
Well, they said
So,
with herd immunity now, a lot of people have got vaccinated and have gotten sick. So the chances of someone like you getting it now is a lot less than before.
right. And honestly, I think I've probably been exposed to it already.
I'm
That's
sure.
just my hunch. I really would like to go get antibody testing just to confirm that, but I really do feel that that is the case. I mean, literally like 90% of my family has all been vaccinated. I'm one of myself, my sister and her two kids, my two kids and fiance are the only ones in my very large family that have not been vaccinated. So, and I know there's the shedding component too, for those that have been vaccinated, then they're now breathing that out. And I've been around all of them. So I'm pretty sure that I've been exposed.
Oh, yeah.
But it is what it is. I think, when it comes to this wonderful life, it's, when it's your time, it's your time. And so if that's what's meant to take me out, so be it. I'd rather that than let these big pharmaceutical companies take me out.
Amen.
So that's just my personal opinion, but I certainly respect anyone who feels that it's necessary and wanted,
Yep.
I mean, absolutely can understand that everyone's situation is very different. And that's just what's right for me, not necessarily what's right for everyone. So
That's right.
yeah. So it looks like Ruth is trying to chime in. She is a new member to our group. So I want to introduce everyone to Ruth. So far we have Jackie, or Jacqueline, as she has, you'll see on her name up here, but she goes by Jackie, right?
Hi, Jackie.
And then, and then we have Clark. And these are both long-term members of our group here.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Do.
So Ruth is up in New Hampshire, right?
Right.
Yeah. So we've got her. And then is that Nina that I see on screen? Hi, Nina.
I got my husband's computer. I know how to put the camera on. Mine wasn't working on my.
Oh, okay, good. All right. Well, I'm glad you were able to join us and we're able to see your beautiful face.
Well, very happy to be here.
Thank you. Yeah. So both Ruth and Nina are both from New Hampshire. Just so happened to call me within like a week of each other.
Wow.
So two new members from the Northeast. So
Right.
yeah. So okay, well, it looks like so far, I mean, we're only 8 minutes in. What's that?
I think
Oh.
there's someone else.
Oh, okay. We're only 8 minutes in and we've just got the 5 of us right now, but I think we're going to go ahead and just start with the introductions. And then I've got some stuff that I've been compiling that I want to share with you guys, just a little bit of information that I've recently discovered. And so I just want to go over some of that. And then if any of you have any information that you feel would be helpful for the group, we're going to go through and let everybody take a turn and do that. So, yeah. So why don't we go ahead and start? Everybody knows me, so I'm not going to do an introduction for myself. But I've been diagnosed since I think it was 2010, 2009, 2010. And I have not gone on Hydrea. As you all know, I'm doing medical cannabis, turmeric, and other herbs and vitamins and dietary changes to help manage my condition. And luckily, I've been able to do that so far without having to go on Hydrea. So, or any of the other interferon or anagrelide or any of those. So, so I guess, Jackie, you want to start? We'll let you do first.
Yes. I am ET JAK2 positive. My numbers have been playing a dance with me, and they got up into the 900s. And I have the bottle of hydroxyurea on my shelf, and I still have not taken it. uh, because I was, my doctor is very good with me. I started a new mixture that actually brought my numbers from 950 down to 820. I know, it's so great. The last test, they did go up a little, but I'm getting tested again this week because I forgot my iron when I travel a lot for work, and I forgot my iron. So I'm wondering if that was a mixture. If I can just get into the 700s, I'll be so excited. I do, there is this lotion. Now, this is the thing. I don't know where all it's legal, but I will share the link. It's called Apothecana. I don't know.
Yeah.
Have
Yeah.
you used it at all,
I'm
Jeff?
familiar.
What's
It
it
is.
called?
It's called Apothecana. I'll put the link. It's CBD and THC lotion and oil. And I have been sadly experiencing a lot of side effects. Jess, I know yours tend to be what, migraines or headaches?
Yeah, I've been getting a lot of the numbness and tingling in the hands and feet recently too.
Okay.
Yeah, I
So
have been getting that. So
I've been
an
getting that.
occasional dizzy spells and
Yeah, I've been getting that in my fingers and in my bottom, my legs, but I also will get them shooting up the sides into my ears.
See, that's where my headache pain is. It's like back in here and the back of my head. Yeah.
That's where the
mostly in
tingling
there.
goes, and it's like inside the ear. It's the weirdest.
Yeah. My
Hate it.
most recent migraine I just had a few days ago, my whole left side was red, hot. It almost felt like it was ear infection, but I had pain from my temple right here, like where my nose and eyebrow connect, all the way through my forehead into my temple, and then behind my ear into like my jaw area and this whole section of my neck. And it was all red, inflamed, and I was in so much pain. Oh my gosh. So
right. And so I'm gonna put the link up for this lotion. You guys, my mom had cancer and she had neuropathy, and it like stopped her neuropathy. And I'm like, why am I not using it? And it's been working delightfully. So I'm gonna put that in for everybody.
Yeah, I have cannabis topicals that I buy here in Illinois. I actually made some from my own medicine, but that Apothecana is also very good. But really, any cannabis topical that has both THC and CBD is going to work really, really well. The CBD alone does work for neuropathy and some of the pain issues, but it's much more potent and works so much better when it has THC in it. Now, I want you guys to all understand that THC, I know that is the psychoactive component, and in some states it is illegal. So you guys may not have access to it, but I want you to also understand that it does not go through the skin and into the bloodstream. So even if you're using a cannabis topical, it's just a cream. It goes on the area that you're having the pain. It will help with your pain. It will help with the nerve issues, and it will not go into your bloodstream. So if you are worried about testing, for drug testing for work or whatever, just know that the topicals are the only kind of cannabis that will not permeate into the bloodstream and cause you to have a positive test. So I just want everybody to know that.
And the Apothecana for me, because they do have an oil, when it's intense, the oil works better for me than just the lotion.
Yeah.
Look, I still lotion up. I have been lately every night before bed, but the oil itself is the one that, I mean, look, I sprained my ankle and it fixed it. I'm telling you, this stuff is like,
yeah, I gave it to my mom for her torn meniscus and she swears by it.
Yeah.
She didn't ever have to have surgery.
Yeah. Nina, do you see it I put it in the group chat. Did you see?
Hang on one second here.
Can we ask questions of the person speaking?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Jackie, since I'm new, how
there it is.
how long have you had this diagnosis? And my understanding is you have not taken any of these high-powered drugs. Is that right?
Yeah. I was diagnosed in 2015.
Okay.
With it. And basically, I mean, at that time, I mean, it was a random gyno test and my numbers were going up. So I was still, I think, Clark, you're still in the 400s, or I don't know if you've gone up higher.
No, that's about, I'm in the 4s. Yeah.
Right. So I started out like in the 4s. And I just kept getting tested. And my doctor has always said, once you hit the 800 mark, and I believe, Jess, your doctor said the same.
Yeah.
Once you hit the 800 mark, you're going to have to go on something. And I was like, okay. And of course, I just this year hit the 800 mark. And I was traveling, I held off, and then I hit the 900. And so, like I said, guys, hydroxyurea is only like $10 for a month, man. It's so cheap. And yet I'm spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars, but I'm just trying my best to push off. Jessica has given me hope to like keep trying stuff. Look, if I go back this week and it's close to 1 million again, I know I'm going to have to start something. I'm not unrealistic that unfortunately these drugs are something that eventually I'm going to have to take no matter what. I get that. But I'm just hoping that I can at least lower and hold off for a little bit longer.
Sure.
Is my goal.
Yeah.
I did also, with the encouragement, I do have a great oncologist, hematologist. Like she's not an MPN specialist, but she's still into studying. She's my age, she's 50, and she's still into studying, and she has so many that her patience and her knowledge and her reading up on this stuff is huge. So she even suggested to me, and I'm going to share this with you guys as well, if I can find it, because I am into all this stuff of getting a naturopathic doctor. And so I have an appointment next month, and I'll put the link to her once I find where it is. Here she is. I can't tell you how many in California I've called. I literally had doctors calling me because of course they didn't know what this is, who does, and turning me down saying, look, I'm afraid of you blood clotting with with the IVs or this, or we don't know, blah, blah, blah. And then I found a doctor in Nova Scotia who led me to this board of oncologist doctors. And I found this woman, I put the link to her up, who is in Palo Alto, California. She does it's expensive, guys. I'm not going to lie. But so you can also wait till my appointment and I can bequeath the information I got to you all. But
Great plan.
She has actually heard of our disorder and has worked with people with our disorder.
Oh, nice.
And she does natural stuff for people with cancer. So again, it's all because of this doctor in Nova Scotia that got me to her, and she does telemed appointments.
Awesome.
I know. So it's not until like June, which I wish it was sooner, the end of June. But I'm actually really excited because I do want to see that all this stuff that I'm putting together. Like I said, it was my oncologist's idea. She's like, Jackie, look, this drop, like, why don't you get a doctor who might also be able to help even more, to make sure with all this. So that's June 22nd. So I'll share all of that with you guys as well. Because like I said,
Yeah.
Money, we're looking forward to that.
Thank you.
The money we would all be saving right now if we didn't have this dang thing. I was thinking the other day, I'm like, yeah, we could have a nice vacation with how much money I've spent.
Same.
So sorry, long-winded, long story short, that's me. That's what I've been up to. And hopefully this week, knock on wood, like I said, if it just goes into the 7s, I'll be happy.
And my fingers crossed for you, girl.
Thank you. Because I don't want to do it yet.
Yeah, I know.
I just don't. And it was so funny too, because I was talking to my doctor about all of, you know what I mean? Because I'm like, we were on a negligide. Why'd we go to hydroxyurea? And I'm a part of a group where interferon helps for so many people. Now, interferon is really expensive. Like it's ridiculous. I think it's like $3,000 a month or something.
Yeah, Ruth can tell you a little bit about that.
Yeah. And my doctor was like, the problem with interferon is you get flu-like symptoms for so long that out of all 3 of them, oddly enough, the less chances of side effects is the hydroxyurea.
Yeah. That's what my hematologist has also said, that she feels the safest with that. If I'm going to go on anything, it would be the hydria.
Me too.
Yeah.
So I'm like, can't somebody come up?
I
with
mean, I
something?
know people on it and, they do say that there's a lot of fatigue, but other than that, I haven't heard any terrible, I mean, everyone's different. So you never know. Everybody's body reacts different.
I tried it for 9 days and I had explosive diarrhea, terrible stomach pains. My friend told me my skin turned gray. I felt horrible. I just felt like I was poisoning myself and I just stopped it. I said, I can't do it.
Yeah.
So that was 9 days. That was my experience.
And what
What's
were your,
what's your numbers?
yeah,
What's your
well,
numbers?
Um, the last one was 650 something.
oh, you're low.
Well, you know,
Amazing.
I never had a handle on what's high, what's low until I talked to Jessica and she said, well, that's not too bad. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I didn't know because I started out at around 400, I guess. And then it went to 500. And this is just this past year that I was officially diagnosed in February. And I waited for a couple of months just to let it all sink in before I did anything. And I also, I don't mean to take your time, so I don't know how you want to run this.
No, it's your turn. Go.
Okay, my turn, I'll tell you what I've been doing.
Okay.
I have a naturopathic doctor in Portsmouth through Vibrant Health. And I had just contacted her just because I'm very interested in health and I wanted to improve my sleep. And I've read somewhere that sleep apnea is somehow connected to this, or they've done studies with sleep apnea and ET. And it turns out I do have sleep apnea, but I didn't think that I had any symptoms of any kind until I went on this hydroxyurea, and then I felt horrible. So in the meantime, I've told the hematologist there, I'm going to Dartmouth. I was referred by my GP, who I'm no longer seeing. She gave me a couple of supplements, and I will put this out here. They are Coleus forscoli and Dan Shen. They're both Chinese herbs.
Yep.
And it didn't really decrease my platelets much. I think it went down maybe 10 points, but it didn't significantly go up. So
Right.
I've been taking this along. I took this along with the Hydrea that I tried. And when I felt so sick with that, I went to an aspirin. Oh, and then she said, well, just make sure you have aspirin.
Mm-hmm.
And sorry, I'm in the basement of my son's new house. There's no furniture here, and I'm sitting on a package of sheets, and I've got a box that I've got this thing on. And everybody's having their dinner upstairs, so my husband's coming in and out, and that's what's going on. Anyway, I didn't want to miss this meeting. Okay, so where was I?
Are you on the aspirin now?
Oh, yes. So she told me to take aspirin along with it, and the aspirin was making me feel sick. I mean, I'm very sensitive. I never took any meds before this. So my brother's a chiropractor. He said, you could take an aspirin every other day. It'll be okay. So that's what I started doing.
That's what I do. I don't do it daily like they recommend. I do it every other. Now, I believe, Jackie, you're taking like high doses of aspirin, correct?
Yeah, I'm now, for right now, and I think it's because of her fear. Basically, my doctor had me in tears. This is how much she loves me. She's like, I don't want to lose you. I can't lose you. Because you know the alternative is heart attack or stroke. And which made me cry. She goes, do me a favor and at least take 325 milligrams a day.
Wow.
Coated.
How do you handle that on your stomach?
I knock on wood. I've been taking an aspirin a day ever since I've been diagnosed.
And it doesn't bother you?
No, I take it on a full stomach. Like as soon as I'm done with dinner, I've been lucky with that because the aspirin, I mean, I forget how you pronounce erythromelalgia or some secondary erythromelalgia where your feet can, from high platelets, can burn so bad that you want to cut them off. Like it's that bad. The only thing that cures it is aspirin.
Huh.
So I've been fortunate. Believe me, I want to go back down, but she has me so scared. Once I get back into this, she has me so scared of a heart attack or stroke. I'm just like, fine, I'll take the 325 every day.
Right.
I mean, as long as it's not bothering your stomach, it's going to help to thin the blood and prevent the clotting so that, it's,
Yeah.
yeah, I found out that Clark and I both were talking about this last time, how it actually stays in your system for like, I think it's 72 hours.
7
It does.
days. Up to
7 days. Yeah. Okay. Which is why when before you have surgery, you have to stop taking it prior. Same with the turmeric and the other blood thinning herbs. So
Right.
but that's why I only take it every other day because, you know, I took, see what before my diagnosis, I was having daily headaches and I was for 2 years straight taking ibuprofen every day. So, and my stomach, I would get the world's worst heartburn.
Yeah.
And, you know, I thought I actually had an ulcer for a long time, but I'd always had sort of a little bit of GI issues, like since I was a teenager. I actually just recently learned, and I'll share this with you guys in a little bit, about the connection with your gallbladder and liver and that exact symptom of the severe heartburn and how it actually stops your body from being able to absorb some of your other nutrients, which are like essential for us to keep our platelets in check. So, and for us to process iron and, you know, things like that, which are all related to the platelets.
I know.
Same with the
asked you a
estrogen
question
issues I've
about
been
that,
having.
Jessica.
What's that?
I need to ask you a question about that.
Okay, go ahead.
Iron.
Oh, the iron.
Yeah. What's your input on that?
Well, I mean, one of the things I learned was there is a disorder called RARST. I don't remember exactly what that stands for, but it is an iron deficiency that can actually mimic ET. And some folks are misdiagnosed with ET that actually have an iron deficiency. So it basically, when your iron levels go too low, it can cause the platelets to elevate.
Right.
So that's why we have to make sure we take iron. Now, my iron's shown up high a couple times.
I heard that happen though.
So, you know, but I'm not too worried about that. I mean, it's not like super high. It was just slightly elevated. So
You've gotten tested for all this, right? You get tested for your
yeah,
vitamins.
so I actually just found out, I've been doing all this research on the liver, and there's a naturopathic doctor that was saying that the typical blood iron test that you get with your CBC is not really definitive of your iron level or absorption level of iron. So what you actually need is a ferritin test in order to know really where your iron levels are actually at, where your absorption is at. So I have not had this test done yet, but definitely, Jackie, if you're having issues with iron, I would be asking about getting a ferritin test.
Jessica,
Yes.
this is Ruth. Oh,
Hi, Ruth.
I had a ferritin test and mine was on the low end of the 20s and they were telling you that it was low, but I had normal iron. I don't know if that's all connected.
Well, I believe, and I could be wrong, I'm not a doctor, but I believe that if your ferritin is low, then you're not able to absorb the iron as well.
Now, has anybody had a bone marrow biopsy come back with, I just had one on Friday, and you know my experience with the Pegasus,
Yes,
which
gosh,
was not
awful,
good.
awful.
Wait, what was your experience with the Pegasus? I'm curious.
Terrible doctor. I had all kinds of burning from the esophagus all the way down in through my digestive tract, and it wreaked havoc with my blood cells. It dropped my white blood cells down and all kinds of crazy things I've never seen before. Metamyelocytes came up, banned neutrophils. The doctor couldn't explain it. I'm looking to change doctors right now because the one I have just is not doing what I need to have her do. And I just had a bone marrow test. I'm waiting for some of the results to come back, but it came up with slight
Mild fibrosis, I think you had said, right?
yes, and I'm
Yeah.
trying to find exactly what it says. Mild scarring, yes. Mild increase in fibrosis, 1 to 2/4. Does anybody know anything what that mean? If that is danger level, is that early myelofibrosis? Is it still considered ET? Does anybody know about that?
we would have to ask a hematologist, I think, to
Yeah.
get the real definitive answer on that. I know when I had my bone marrow biopsy, they had said that I had minimal fibrosis, and that
Mhm.
was a good sign. So it just means that we're in the early stages of the disease, and that, obviously things haven't progressed to a dangerous level yet.
Mhm.
The more fibrosis you have or scar tissue you have, the more they know that, things have really been wreaking havoc in your bone marrow. So,
Yeah.
I have a question. Has anyone done chelation therapy? Because that's something that my naturopathic person is recommending.
no,
Is
I've
that-
heard of it though. I've been very curious about it.
Because, I did, before I was even diagnosed, I did a whole panel of vitamin, how my vitamins were, how my hormones were, and toxicity in my body. And, I lived in Europe for many years. I got all my amalgam taken out, but she said I had a higher level of mercury. So, I just wonder, I'm going to be probably doing this. And my hematologist is, she's old school in terms of the 3 treatments, right?
Mhm.
What you talked about. And I'm not sure I want to do any of those yet. I just actually got my application for medical marijuana. Thank you.
Congratulations.
I know, my daughter delivered it down here. It's a long story. Just arrived with her boyfriend. We're all seeing our son's place in Virginia.
Nice.
Great
I'm
though.
gonna start on that, but I'm ready to do, whatever this naturopathic person suggests. I just don't know if anybody had any experience. And one last question, and then I'll cede the floor to someone else. I'm not, since I've had this diagnosis, like I said before this, I didn't really notice much of anything, except I used to have sometimes some sparkling in my eyes in the morning.
Mm.
It used to be one of the symptoms. But now I'm feeling lightheaded a lot. I get dizzy. And I don't know if it's because I'm nervous about it or that's an actual symptom.
That's
So
a
I'm
symptom.
throwing it out to people. Is this something that you've experienced?
I get
Yes.
it a lot. Mhm.
I get lightheaded all the time.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, that sparkly thing started happening for me when I was pregnant with my first son, when I was only 18 years old.
Oh my
And that was the only symptom. Now I had no idea back then, obviously, that I had a blood disorder. I was very young, but I thought it was really weird that I had this sparkly thing, and it would happen when I'd be in the shower. And then I started noticing, and I swear to you, you're going to think this sounds really weird, but every time I shave my left armpit, when I look down to do this motion and I come back up, I swear to you, every single time I get these little sparkles. I don't know
think
what
we
it is
did
about that head
in
motion.
that armpit, Jessica.
Something's going on over here.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's seriously, every time I do it, I get that sparkle. It's so weird.
Yeah, I went to my eye doctor. I said, what's going on with my eyes? And I had no clue. So you were having symptoms way back, but you didn't recognize it.
Yeah. And that was the only symptom I ever really had. I didn't have the headache so much then. I didn't have any of that. I just had this weird sparkly. And then in 2008, I think, or 2009, I had gotten laid off from one of my main jobs. I always worked 2 jobs because I've been a single mom since I was 18. So, but I had gotten laid off from one of my main jobs. So I actually I had been bartending at night and doing sales during the day. And my sales job, I got laid off. So I started picking up shifts at my bartending job during the day. And so then they eventually made me the lead bartender for daytime. And then I would only work on the weekends occasionally when I didn't have the kids, so I could still be with them. And what was happening is I was in this dark bar all day, and there was like light that would, there's a wall of windows, and I would work until about 5 p.m. And at around 5 o'clock is when the sun would start beaming in that window. And all of a sudden I would get this like C-shaped kind of blurry thing. And I could not see the computer to close out all the tickets at the bar so that I could end my shift. And I would have to get one of the girls to come over and ring them all up for me because I could not see. And I could close my eyes and it would still be there. And then I couldn't understand what that was. And then in the evening, I would get a headache hours later. And I just thought, oh, it's from the stress, of all I was going through as a single mom and working and, whatever. And I just thought it was a stress related issue. I had no idea that it had anything to do with a blood disorder.
And you were having visual migraines all along.
Right.
Okay. So an added question to this lightheadedness. Now, my son is a captain in the Army. That's why he's down here. He's going to be working at the Pentagon. And so he thinks he knows everything. And I thought this was pretty interesting. I said, because I stood up, I'm picking the baby up and down and and I had to hold on. I was dizzy. He said, Mom, you need electrolytes. You have to have sugar and salt. He said, I've seen lots of guys pass out. So to please him, I had some fruit and a pickle. But I just wonder if what do you do when you feel lightheaded? Has there been any?
May I jump in here just for a minute?
Absolutely.
Excuse me. The problem with any diagnosis, whether you're got issues with high blood pressure, diabetes, ET, any kind of when the doctor first tells you this and you're processing it in your mind, everything that you deal with on a daily basis, somehow you think is related to what the doctor said your problem is.
Right.
What happens is our minds truly start playing games with us and we get paranoid and we think, oh, this is because I have this, or this is because I have that. Now, I was diagnosed in 2019, 2019 with ET. And I really didn't have any issues as far as what was happening in my body. But I just noticed that on my normal blood tests I got done every year at the Kiwanis, just to make sure my cholesterol and sugar, all that's good, that my platelet was up. Every year it was up a little bit. Nothing like insane, but the doctor flagged. He said, well, let's go get a blood test, hematologist. So I did. And so the guy says, you got this ET and we'll give you a drug and it'll turn it off. It's just a light switch. Some oversimplification. When I found out it was hydrea and there was no way I was going to go on a cancer drug at a number in the fours. Okay. So anyway, though, after I was diagnosed, I'm reading all this stuff. I'm talking to all these people. I got to meet Jessica. I got interested in her because she's looking at it from a holistic point of view, which I try to do with any kind of health abnormality. I think you start there, and if you get relief, why use the drug?
Right.
But I'm still not in any drugs other than aspirin right now. But after I read all this stuff and talked to a bunch of people, I thought I had every symptom. Okay, I've had what Jessica's talking about, this ocular migraine thing, and I found out that I wasn't getting enough protein and I wasn't eating enough. I'm 6'3", I swim, I work out, and I'm like pushing myself even before, I knew I was sick. And my mom, she's 87. She is prone to ocular migraine. She doesn't have ET. She doesn't have anything else. She's a fairly healthy woman. If she sits in an area where she's getting light reflection, this happens exactly what happened to Jessica.
Yeah.
She can't see. She's got to lay down, turn all the lights out, and after a while, it eventually goes away. But she still sees it, like you said. So she's learned how to manage it. And when I go out to a restaurant, she's, I can't sit there because the light's coming in here. So she sits opposite so that the light isn't bothering her.
I noticed that too. And even when I'm driving, sometimes if the light's coming in weird,
exactly.
It
and that's happened. That's happened to me too. Now, since I'm more sensitive to making sure I have a protein bar in the car, staying hydrated. I mean, I haven't had any of those things in a long time. It was so bad one time I was preaching at night, and all of a sudden I said to people, I don't know what's going on here, but I can't even see the scriptures that are all, jumbled up, and it was like freaky, And so I did some investigation, and I don't have any, I'm sort of hyperglycemic. I lean that way. But in other words, there was other things to help manage this that had nothing to do with ET. So I just throw that out. Now, another thing I hear some of you guys saying, oh, well, my numbers are high, I'm going to stroke out. I've talked to other doctors that are working with this illness. And just because you have high platelets doesn't mean you're a candidate for a stroke. There's tests that you can get taken. And I got all these blood tests recently over and above what even my MPN guy would ask for. Homocysteine, that's a real big issue. That talks about what's happening with your heart. Between 4 and 9 is good. Fibrinogen has to be under 400. Okay, you get these tests. The big one is ESR. And this measures the way the blood's flowing millimeter per hour in your bloodstream. Now, if it's more than 20, you have inflammatory issues. You potentially could clot. If you get that blood, Who has 900? Someone said they have 800, 900 platelets.
That's me, Clark.
Okay, go get that ESR test.
Okay.
ESR, okay?
Yes,
Ask your
what were
you
the
know,
other two? Clark, what were the other two tests?
homocysteine, fibrinogen. These are cardiovascular markers that most people that end up having heart problems should have had these things checked a long time ago, because if your homocysteine's high, your fibrinogen's high, and your ESR is messed up, you're going to potentially have problems, okay? But your ESR is measuring, even with high platelets, how is this functioning in regard to the milliliters per hour going through your bloodstream, okay? So more than 20 is a problem. It shows you have inflammation, which Jessica touched on. That's why turmeric and all this stuff's good, because it lowers inflammation. Then, okay, there's some potential here, but you might get the ESR test and it shows that you have no issue with potentially having clotting issues. So why would you want to go on Hydrea? You think about it, okay?
Yeah.
So anyway, you got vitamin D, check, vitamin B12. Now you mentioned iron. There's 4 markers for iron. You have the normal iron thing like Jessica said, and that's not normally all you need. That's got to be between 50 and 180. Mine was 88. Then you have iron binding. That's supposed to be between 250 and 425. Mine was 267. Iron saturation between 20 and 48. Mine's 33. Ferritin above 150 is an issue, and that shows you have problems with iron. Mine was 125. So you get these tests, and this is going to give you a lot of information. Plus your MPM specialist or your hematologist, because they're no dummies, but for some reason they're doing all these other tests: red blood cell count, white blood cell count, platelets, and those are all important. Okay, we need to know where that stuff is. But these other things tell more of a story. And so if you start taking iron and you don't need iron, you're going to start creating other issues, right?
Right.
So even all the vitamins, all this stuff. I mean, you got to really read about, okay, what does this do with platelets? What does this do with whatever? Like aspirin, baby aspirin, I take that daily. I've had no issues, and I may switch to every other day too, because I bruise easy. If I bang my hand, I get a purple mark. I hate that, but it goes away in a couple of days. It's a blood thinner. But so I take the fish oil, omega fish oil, Nordic Naturals every day. Take 2 of those. I take turmeric 2 times a day, 551 milligrams. It has a black pepper in for absorption. I take the vitamin D3, 5,000 IUs a day. I take zinc. I take this NAC. And the reason I'm taking that's supposed to be good.
That one's
too.
huge.
Yeah. And I'm taking it because they said if you had COVID, it helps clear up some of the damage that happened in your lungs from coughing and all that. So the only problem with that does get you constipated. So you got to take your vitamin C so you can keep flushing stuff out. So, I'm not a know-it-all. I'm learning. I've learned a lot from Jessica, because I'm diving deep into what can we do versus just automatically going to the last resort.
Right.
So I highly encourage you guys to, especially that ESR. When I told my oncologist, Dr. Rossetti, and he's just let me go. So whatever you're doing, just keep doing it. Okay. Because he wanted to put me on Hydrea when I first met him. My number's 460 or something. So when I began to look at this, and he's, well, you're over 68, you could have a stroke. I said, well, based on what? Based on what statistic? See, these guys, and as good as they are, they're textbook. This is the treatment. This is what you do. And so there was no well, let's check ESR to see if you even have any potential issues, even at that level, or 500 or 700 or 800, 1,000. We all think, well, if our platelets go up, it's a death sentence. That's not necessarily so. I've read and I've talked to some people that are 1.5 million, and I've read some oncologists that if these other numbers aren't significant, they're not touching them. They're not doing, putting them on chemo drugs. So we all have to be our own advocate. And the more we know, the more checkpoints are even in the specialists. I was on a webinar the other day, and I talked to this oncologist about, ramifications of COVID with blood disorders and all that kind of stuff. And he finally admitted he had to get the vaccine because he works in a hospital, not because he believed in it, but he had to because he was around immune compromised people and he didn't want to be liable for getting them sick. He said, Clark, let's be honest here. None of us have enough information on this. We have to wait and see what happens, blah, blah, blah. So, and even in the field that we're involved in because of our diagnosis, there is still a lot of people, that are, their decisions are based upon what they knew about this thing 10, 20 years ago.
Right.
So I think, some of you guys said you're looking for a naturopath, that lady in California that has some experience working with MPM patients. That's what we need to do, but we all need to do our own research. And
Right.
this turmeric, Dr. Rossetti said to me, whenever, I had some people pray for me too. So I
Yes.
believe in the power of prayer miraculously. You never know what the Lord will end up doing. But anyway, he said, because there's papers, and Jessica will vouch for this, on turmeric being something that will deal with this JAK2 mutation to
Yep.
some extent.
Mhm.
So it's exciting. And the reason I like hanging out on these calls, I mean, I don't want us to be negative, hopeless, despairing. This is good. I got to do this thing. I mean, Hydrea sitting on a shelf is toxic enough in the bottle. You get it out of the bottle, sexual relations, potential problems with the spouse, also skin cancers, that people
Yeah.
who have been on Hydrea have had foot ulcers. Even though,
Yeah.
depending on the dose, I'm not trying to scare anybody, but, you got to say, well, do I want to have 30 skin cancers and people cut me up every 6 months because, I like being outside in the sun. I'm a swimmer. Why in the world? So you take one thing and then you complicate your life with maybe 8 other things because the side effects.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm going to have to.
Can I
I'm-
ask? Oh, go ahead, Ruth.
I'm sorry. I have to go to work and I hate to leave this. Can I pick it up? I can't do it at work. I can get the recording, right, Jessica?
Yeah, once this meeting's
I hate to
over,
leave.
I'll send the recording out in an email to everybody. There'll be a link to it and it'll also be posted on my YouTube channel. So yeah.
Okay.
Okay, don't worry.
Thanks.
And what's nice is you can go back and re-listen to some of the stuff we've talked about and write it down later. Because I know
Yeah.
there's things that sometimes we talk fast and you'll miss something. And so that's why I do the recordings on these. It's helpful to all of us, I think. But don't worry, we will definitely make sure you get a copy, okay?
I wish I could stay, and it was nice to meet everybody. And
Oh,
Nice
no
meeting
worries.
you.
You can be on the
It's
next
healthy.
one. Nice to
It's
meet you
healthy.
too.
Yeah, including with this latest news I've had. All right. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Be
Have a
okay.
good day at work.
Yeah. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks.
So Clark, coming back to you, first of all, did you not want to be on camera? Because sometimes we see your hands, but we don't.
There I am.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
My skin isn't gray either,
Oh,
So when I had COVID, I looked pretty bad, but I'm doing better now. But anyway,
so where do you live? What part of the
I
country?
live in Western Pennsylvania.
Okay. And what I'm hearing from you is you were diagnosed in 2019. I'm trying to get a little information
Yeah,
on
yeah.
you. And your platelets have been pretty steady at 400 from that time?
Well, they actually, after that prayer they were down in 350s, 360s. So I'm fluctuating between, the mid to high threes to the mid to high fours. So, depending on, now I was getting a test every month.
Go,
Now
Clark.
it's
Go,
every
Clark.
2 months.
Keep doing it.
Well,
Keep doing it.
and the only
That's great, Clark.
That's all the grace of God. We're all wired differently. But what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
if I had 900 and my ESR numbers are good, I'm not going on Hydrea.
Yeah, I'm
There's
gonna
no
try.
way.
I'm gonna see if I've had that ESR test or
You probably
not.
haven't, because that is only something that a cardiologist will prescribe, check out regarding issues with clotting. And that's funny that the MPM people aren't having this test, because we
Right.
all get freaked out. We think, well, I'm going to clot, or come
I
on,
can't even tell you what. Your brain is a powerful thing.
Yes, it is.
And I totally agree with the power of prayer. And I'm doing these daily affirmations, but sometimes I get a little shaky.
Yeah, I do too.
And
Lord,
so,
I believe, help my unbelief. That's what I got to say sometimes,
Yeah.
what do you say?
Lord, but I believe, help my unbelief.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Because we're human. And, as the lady just said, Jackie, that our minds are they're a wonderful gift, but they're also our biggest enemy many times.
Right.
my
Yeah.
thought life can really put me in a place of despair and despondency and hopelessness. You know, I'm a pastor, so I deal with a lot of different crises of different kinds, and I sort of keep my issue to myself. But anyway, getting back to why the calls here, Jessica, and I can't thank God enough for her, because whenever I was diagnosed, someone talked me off the ledge. Jean Dice, she's on a lot of group deals for MPM around the country. She helped me get a grip. But the problem was the hematologist told me, oh, they take this drug. And then I said to the nurses, oh, well, I guess I don't have cancer. Yeah, that's something to be thankful for. Then I go home and find I'm diagnosed with a blood cancer. I mean, the whole thing was like a scam. And, and then they want me to take this drug. And I talked to a lot of people, believe me, who were on it, who were off of it, who were on it for a while, it worked, who got off of it, never went on it again. But the more information we can get and share together, and this is the passion that Jessica has to help us, the more we can then begin to maybe make some decisions that are in our best interest versus what textbook says all the time. And there could be breakthroughs. These mixtures that you're working on, you're trying and this and that. I mean, what works for one person may work for a lot of other people. We don't know, but information sharing this is definitely power.
Yeah.
Right. That's really the goal, is just to give us as much information as possible so we can make whatever decisions best for us personally.
Yep.
We all have, other little side things going on besides just our ET. And like you said, you go through your brain and you start thinking, well, maybe it's because I did this. And I'm always blaming myself for any symptom I have at all. It's always, oh, because I probably ate that yesterday, that's why. Or I'm always, kind of self-analyzing and thinking, what can I do to be better? And, at some level, some of this is out of our control. But I also believe, like I was talking before about Dr. Lisa Ranking, and the Mind Over Medicine book that she wrote. And, years ago, I've been promoting this to patients when I was working in the dispensary setting, because it's so powerful. Like, the placebo effect is so powerful, and it really shows you the power of the mind. And the more we think about, the more things come about. So it's about what we stay focused on, and, being focused on, I have a cancer, and using that word cancer, and, focusing on those symptoms as something that's my fault. I think those are all detrimental things to us. And I try really hard to be conscious of that and to stop myself from that type of thinking. And, I do want to help myself. So I think the self-analyzation isn't a bad thing, but at the same time, I can't always be feeling guilty like I've done something wrong, because at some level, this isn't really in our control, other than to keep our thinking straight and to try to keep our diet and our exercise good, so that we know we're putting good things in our body. And I think, half of the herbs that we take, yes, they have been proven to be anti-inflammatory and, kill the JAK2 mutation. And I just put a list up for you guys of a bunch of things that I've been researching that are all good for our condition. But it's also knowing that you're putting the right things in your body, I think, that help you get in that right state of mind to be able to be in more of a healing state, and to not be stressing and pushing cortisol, and, to be in more of a calm state of like, okay, well, I'm doing everything I can be doing, and therefore I should be feeling great. And as long as you have that kind of thought process going on, and you're doing all the things that you feel are right for you, you can put yourself in a better state physically, I think. So.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's probably what the CBD helps with as well.
Yeah, it really does. It calms anxiety. And I think that's a big part of the healing process, is calming down that anxiety and the worry, and kind of putting you more in a space of like, okay, I'm just going to enjoy the moment and not worry so much. Because, there's a saying, I can't think of what it is at the moment, something about when you're thinking about the future, you create anxiety. And when you're thinking about the past, you create regret. So you have to stay in the present,
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. It's the gift.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. The present is a gift. Yeah.
Yes, you did give me a gift too, to help me though, even though I know some of it's mind over matter. Since I stopped, I was a big Coke Zero.
Ah.
I love my Coke Zero and Coke and pop and sugar and chocolate and all of that stuff. I have noticed a positive difference since I've stopped that stuff. Look, I still, don't get me wrong. And then I'm like, I'm just going to have one. But I notice a difference with like the less sugar I put in my body, other than like real natural sugar.
Mm-hmm.
better I think I am. And I literally, because I'm filming a show now, but thank God it's like part on the road, part here. And my hours for 5 days in a row, I was at work by like 8 a.m., didn't get home till 11, turned around and kept doing it. And I was so tired, I started getting the effects.
Yeah.
And so I'm also like, Jessica, you helped me with that too. Like, take a deep breath. It might not be your numbers going up. It could just be you being tired.
Right.
Like,
it could be
sleep.
your stress levels, and when you're putting yourself through that kind of stress for your work schedule or for whatever it may be. I know, like, as a mom, a lot of times I stress myself out about my children, and their problems, because all I want in life is to help them fix their problems. And of course, all they want to do is not listen to any of my advice ever. So, it can be kind of stressful at times. So, but we all have our own stresses. And when we get in that state of, we're just trying to get through, it's like you turn off that being in the present and, sort of enjoying any moments, because you're just trying to get through so you can get to an enjoyable moment. And that puts your body in a state of stress too. So, overworking or any of that, it can definitely take a toll on the body. So, but so real quick, I wanted to share with you guys today. I have been, as you guys know, I have these terrible hormonal migraines, which, I don't know necessarily if it's related to the ET or not, but one of the things, you guys have heard me probably say this in the past, that I'm always worried about, like, my liver and spleen. I feel like they're overtaxed, and I'm always feeling stiffness and soreness in my body. And I get a lot of these tension headaches and that kind of thing. And, I've been trying to figure out this puzzle between the estrogen and the possibility of me being premenopausal, as well as this inflammatory response, because when I have the worst symptoms is when my inflammatory response is activated, right? And so I've been trying to sort of figure out that puzzle. Well, I found a couple of naturopathic doctors that have some good YouTube channels, and there is this one, Dr. Ekberg, who was talking about liver and gallbladder function. And then I found another naturopath who also was talking a little bit about this. And so just today, I purchased some bile salts to try and see if this is going to help when I have these type of symptoms. But basically what they've explained is that when your gallbladder doesn't get enough bile into the liver, what happens is you cannot process the toxins as well. And you have things like those terrible bouts of heartburn that happen kind of right in this area. You cannot absorb your omega-3s. You cannot absorb vitamin D, which is a natural anti-inflammatory. You cannot absorb a lot of these very important nutrients that are anti-inflammatory. So what ends up happening is the body starts feeling stiff and sore everywhere. And that's a sign that your liver and gallbladder are not functioning properly, and that you possibly have a blockage in the urethra that takes the bile into the liver. So one of the ways to tell if that's what's going on in your body is to take these purified bile salts. And supposedly, if you do this, that you should feel relief within 20 minutes or less. So the next time I have one of my really bad migraines, because, I think I've told you guys this before, it doesn't only just hurt in my head. It's like a pressure all over my body that I can feel, where it just, everything hurts. And I feel dizzy and I feel nauseated because I'm in so much pain. And it just lasts for like 2 days, sometimes 3 days. And it's just miserable. And, so I keep trying to do all these things to cleanse my body. I've been trying all these different things. Well, one of the things you can do that I just recently, I did for about 21 days, and then I went on vacation to my dad's and I stopped, but I was doing intermittent fasting. And I actually felt really good while I was intermittent fasting. I didn't have any severe headaches while I was intermittent fasting. I stopped the fasting because I went on vacation, and I was like, hey, I'm visiting my dad. I don't want to have to worry about this crap. I just want to enjoy my life while I'm here. And so, when you're in Ohio and West Virginia visiting your family that lives way out in the country, they love to feed you, and they love to feed you lots of stuff that you shouldn't eat, like heavy carbs and sugars and, all the good stuff, the fried foods. We went fishing and fried up some crappie and, so yeah. So I just hung out on my dad's 13 acres the whole time. We really didn't go anywhere. We just kind of, enjoyed nature and just hung out at my dad's. I helped him plant his garden, and, we had a good time. But I fell off the wagon on my intermittent fasting. And apparently, fasting is one of the quickest ways to heal your liver. So putting yourself into ketosis. So doing a high protein diet. And it's funny because back in the day, I had looked up some research on diets that were good for different blood disorders. And I couldn't really find anything specific for ET, but I did find something that said that leukemic disorders actually feed on protein. And so therefore people that have leukemia should not do keto. Which we don't have leukemia, but it's in the family of leukemia. So I was out of caution, like I shouldn't do keto. But then I discovered that intermittent fasting actually has these really awesome healing properties and something called autophagy, which is basically like a cell regeneration that happens where your old cells die off and new cells are created. And your liver actually completely regenerates all of its cells every, I think it's 60 or 90 days. So there's that much autophagy going on in the liver that it constantly is cleansing itself. Now that's if everything's functioning properly.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try the bile salts. I've also found a bunch of different foods that can help. Like my mom, for instance, had this fatty liver, non-alcoholic fatty liver. And we both have kidney stones, and my son Gabriel has kidney stones, and that's all related. I didn't know that kidney stones and gallstones were related to how the liver and gallbladder function. So, and it's part of like when you go on a low fat diet, you don't have enough fats and most of your vitamins are fat soluble. If that bile production isn't enough, you're not absorbing your vitamins. It slows down a lot of processes and creates a lot of inflammation in the body. And so I know some of us with ET are struggling with inflammation type issues, not all of us, but I just thought that would be helpful for you guys to know about that, because when I learned about it, I was like, oh my gosh, this could be what's causing all this inflammation response. This could be what's causing all these terrible symptoms for me. And so if the bile salts help and the dietary changes help, which so far the intermittent fasting seemed to, then I'm going to keep on that and see if I can't help manage my symptoms that way.
Is there a downside to the bile salts?
No, only if you have, what was it? There is one condition that you can't have bile salts. I'm going to post the video for you guys that talked
Sure,
about
thank
exactly
you.
this so you can watch it. Hang on, I'm just going to share it with you real quick. Okay, here we go. So this is the one talking about how your liver can cause stiffness in the body because it's causing an inflammatory response. And in here, he does talk about, gosh, I wish I could think of what it was. There is one specific condition that if you have it, you're not allowed to have the bile salts because it can irritate that situation. I don't know why I can't think of what it was at the moment, but anyhow, I want to just real quick open up. Maybe I have to do a screen share. Hang on. I'm sorry. I want to show you guys this little list that I created, and you guys can add to this or comment on it, whatever. How do I screen
Clark, what a cute doggy.
Yeah, I thought you'd give you guys a kicker.
Aw,
That's his name.
cute.
His name's Boo. His name's Boo.
Boo.
B-O-O. Boo.
Aw, like a ghost. Yeah.
That's your
Yeah,
boo.
He's a cutie.
He really is. Okay, so here we go. Screen share. Okay. So I wanted to pull up this document real quick. So I put together, can you guys see this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Very
Okay.
nice. Very
Awesome.
nice.
So these are foods to prevent clotting. I've got 15 of them on here. There's actually some of them are supplements like the NAC.
Yeah, what is that? What is that?
It's N-acyl. Actually, I've got a little list here. Hang on, what do I do with it? N-acetylcholine. I take it in a supplement form. I buy it from Nature's Sunshine Herbs, which I buy a lot of my herbs from Nature's Sunshine, but so I do take it from them. There are other companies that make it, but it's also found in a lot of foods, in your sulfur-rich foods. Basically what NAC does is it helps your body produce more glutathione. Glutathione is found in your sulfur-rich foods. So, and it's actually, I have it in here. Oh, here it is, sulfur-rich foods down here, glutathione. So under number 10, glutathione is basically the same thing as NAC. NAC helps your body create glutathione naturally. So glutathione is like one of the most potent antioxidants. And it helps with so many different things. It helps with anti-inflammatory. It kills the JAK2 mutation. Go ahead, Jackie.
Is NAC the nattokinase
No,
the same thing?
no, that's different. So the nattokinase is a Japanese fermented
Oh, yeah.
red rice, I think. And
Right.
so, with nattokinase, I need to do, I said this last time and I'm so sorry I haven't done it yet, but I do need to talk to this, the naturopathic doctor in Pennsylvania I've told you guys about. She had said at one point that nattokinase can make your platelets more sticky, but everything I'm finding online says that it helps to thin your blood. It's anti-inflammatory. So I have it, but I haven't been taking it because
Yeah,
I'm
I
just,
didn't, yeah, I didn't
I
take
want-
it. I didn't take it because of that. I read about that a couple of years ago and picked it up in a health food store and then I took it back. I mean, there's so many other good things that are like more stable that without like this,
right.
well, you better not take like that. Tahini, I read when I first
Yeah.
was diagnosed, what things do you take if you have, what things don't you eat if you have low platelets? You don't take, tahini, you don't drink cranberry juice, you don't drink alcohol, you don't drink quinine water, dairy products. There was like 5 or 6 things that you shouldn't eat if you have low platelets because they'll make them lower. So I just saw
Make them
conversely,
higher. Yeah.
yeah, if you have a higher platelet thing, take that stuff and it could help you lower your platelets.
Right. And that's basically what I did with all of this. This is, probably a year or two of me looking up different things and trying to figure out this dietary component. I know there's always been a lot of question about this, the is it K1, K2?
Yeah,
K2
K2,
causes,
yeah.
yeah. And so you got to be careful with too much kale because, the K2 can cause your platelets to be more sticky, but K1 actually helps thin the blood. So,
Right.
Can I ask a
Interactions, exactly. Or I was just told by my daughter-in-law that if you take zinc, you need to have copper with it. So,
well, you need to have quinine. Quinine helps you absorb zinc. So yeah,
Right.
and I think that is possibly from copper, but
Yeah.
go ahead, Jackie.
I have a question for you and Clark again.
Yes.
So this is fascinating because the last time that I got my blood taken, when I told you it went up a little bit,
Yeah.
she kept saying that my blood was sticky. So it was bouncing all over the place from like 200 to 600 to 800. I told her I would take 200, please. That didn't happen. But so then she took the blood from my arm versus the finger prick.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if that's because should I stop taking the
nattokinase. Maybe. I mean, I stopped taking it when I found out that, because the naturopathic doctor had said, no, I wouldn't take that because it can make your platelets more sticky. So I just stopped as a precaution because I'm already taking so many other things that it was like,
Right.
there are, what I'm learning through this process is there are a lot of foods that have flavonoids, terpenoids, so it's basically the colors, flavors, and smells in most foods are what have these high antioxidant properties.
Right.
So that, I learned this about cannabis way years ago when I first started working in the cannabis field and learning more about cannabis. And it's really the terpenoids and flavonoids that have such healing properties. Certainly CBD and THC do too, but it's the role of them working all together, the synergy of that really makes it a healing plant. And this is true with turmeric, with golden seal, which has berberine, all the shrimp and salmon and everything that has the pink in it has that xanthine, which is also a very high antioxidant, can kill cancer cells, can help, as a matter of fact, that one can reduce the possibility of blood clot to the heart or brain. They're doing studies on it right now for helping with the brain. Ginkgo, increases circulation to the brain. So these are all the chemicals, like in turmeric, you have curcumin, right? Well, curcumin is, a natural occurring polyphenol found in this root. So, a lot of this stuff that we're taking in a supplement can also be found in food. And that's sort of why I made this list, because I think it's important that we're aware of that so that we know we're eating the right foods to kind of help keep those platelet levels under control naturally. And, when you look through this, that they have omega-3 in here so many times to help keep you from having the possibility of a clot. But omega-6, if you have too much of that, can be detrimental. And and omega-6 is found in, soy isolate proteins. It's found in your canola oil, bean oils. So anytime you eat out at a restaurant, you're pretty much getting that omega-6 because you're getting the wrong kind of fat, basically.
Yeah, another important thing I've discovered, and I was never much of a water drinker, but I have to force myself to stay hydrated. If you're
Yeah.
dehydrated and you go in for your blood tests, they have a hard time pulling the blood, let alone. And I read too that
And it
can
makes you
affect-
so much higher risk for clot if you're
Yep.
dehydrated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it can affect a higher platelet reading if you're dehydrated. But also, and I've talked with the guy over in Australia on this, but your exercise, some form of physical exertion, whether you're running or you're walking, get your heart rate up 3 to 4 times a week for about 40 minutes, that is huge in reducing the stress, but it also has a real positive effect on the blood and the platelets. And I know that guy over there, he's got some serious stuff going on, and he's in these like long distance bike things. He does it, and he
Right.
swears he got off alcohol too, because that was another thing that was causing him problem.
Mhm.
But he's been doing pretty good, and the exercising. Most people are sedentary as they get older, and that's another issue. So
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, and also what I'm learning too is that heart health, all the same things that are good for heart health are good for us because, the
Yep.
stronger we keep our heart, the less likely we are to have a heart attack or stroke. So, like garlic, for instance, super good for your heart, but it's also really good to prevent you from clotting. It's also good for anti-inflammatory. I know she's not on the call today, but Monica, she's eating whole cloves, garlic all the time because she swears. And she also has something called liquid cayenne. Cayenne is also known to thin the blood. And so she said that when she has her migraines, that she takes a shot of liquid cayenne and some garlic. And supposedly that helps get rid of it. So I haven't tried that yet, actually. I've been meaning to buy some of that. I also just learned from my chiropractor that black cumin seed oil is very beneficial. They call it the blessed herb because it helps so many different conditions. And it also is a blood thinner. So I added that to our list today. And I purchased it from the chiropractor in a pill form, but I also went on Amazon and bought black cumin seed oil because you can use it in salad dressings and things like that. So I did that as well. That's the thing I wanted to talk about when I made this list is, I'm swallowing a butt ton of pills every day that I really don't enjoy doing. And so I do try to find things in liquid form and or the food form. And so that's why I think this list is important because a lot of times you don't feel like swallowing a handful of pills today. I'm not great about making sure I get an entire week in. There's lots of times I miss my evening dose or I just don't feel like swallowing pills today and I just skip a day, and I know that's not good. But I think if I could find it in the food form or if I could do it in the liquid tinctures, it would be so much easier for me to make sure that I got those nutrients every single day than trying to keep up with swallowing pills all the time. And some of these things, you can't find in abundance in nature, like the NAC and the glutathione. Yeah, you can eat those kind of foods, but like for instance, I tried the broccoli seed sprout pills and that gave me the worst gas I've ever had in my life. I was in so much pain. I was bloated. Oh my God, don't do broccoli sprout pills. Broccoli sprouts have lots of glutathione, really great for the sulforaphane or the sulfuric rich foods. So absolutely excellent for our condition, but the side effects were not so fun. And so I'm having to find other ways. And so taking the NAC has been beneficial because I don't have that terrible side effect and I can still help my body boost its glutathione. So
I find it very difficult to have a lot of supplements just because they're hard to digest.
Well, that too. And then when I found out about the liver function and how much that plays a role in us even being able to absorb these nutrients, I'm like, well, shoot, that's step one. I need to make sure that my liver and spleen and my gallbladder and all this are working properly at optimal function before any of this is going to do me any good, because if I can't absorb omega-3s, I can eat all the ones I want. I can be taking the fish oils every day, but my body may not be absorbing it properly if my liver isn't functioning right. So that's why I'm going to give these bile salts a try. and see if that makes a difference for the symptoms. And if it does, that's a sign that my liver has not been functioning, which has been my hunch all along. I've said it so many times before. I'm like, I think it's my liver and spleen. And so I've been taking milk thistle, and I've been taking this stuff called spleen desiccated just to try to keep those organs healthy, because I know they're overtaxed with the amount of platelets that we have in our blood. It's got all of our regular toxins that it has to flush out, all the fats it has to flush out, and then all these extra platelets. So, I just want to give those organs the tools they need to function optimally so we don't have an issue, because I know that's one of the first symptoms is to have that enlarged spleen.
Yeah.
Does your doctor, like, I know my doctor once a year, I want to say it's a sonogram on my liver, on my spleen. I get my
really?
X-rayed. Yeah.
I've never had that done.
Every year for me. And
That's
that's
awesome.
how she's been keeping track if my
Things are
liver,
enlarging or not.
how
Yeah.
my liver is. I'm just throwing that out to you guys
Yeah.
because it is a peace of mind,
Yeah.
and the lung X-ray is because I smoked for so long, and right now I haven't had a cigarette since August, but I'm substituting, so not a congrats. But so the thing that's
Hey.
really good with this is we can get a lot of tests covered, and she just puts it under our disorder, and the health insurance has to take it because they're so stupid and don't know a lot about this. Man, the test that they're covering for me is fantastic.
That's
That's
awesome.
But
awesome.
I'm
Yeah.
throwing that out to you, Jessica. If you're worried about your liver and spleen, suggest having that done.
Yeah, well, and I know, this is true with a lot of things in Western medicine, that the levels that they will test just to see your liver function on a blood test are very different.
Then seeing it.
Right. Well, exactly. And or what a naturopath would pull, that's like these ESR tests and stuff that Clark's been talking about. That's not stuff that your normal doctor is just going to pull for you. You have to actually ask for that. And it's like with cholesterol, the FDA lowered the standard, or not cholesterol, I'm sorry, blood pressure. The FDA actually lowered the standard for what healthy blood pressure is, just so that they can issue more medication to people for blood pressure.
Yeah.
Well, CBD manages blood pressure naturally. And almost every single person that I've ever consulted with that has started taking CBD has come off their blood pressure medication completely. So it's difficult when you go through Western medicine to get testing, because they don't always, like with thyroid even, what they think is normal thyroid function is already in dysfunction. And nobody will tell you that besides a naturopathic doctor. So it's very hard when you're working with Western medicine to know whether you're in a state that you should be worried or concerned. And so that's why, I just haven't even asked anybody about getting my liver tested. I just have had this hunch that that's why I feel this way, because I feel like I have so much lactic acid in my muscles, and even when I haven't worked out at all, I am so sore. I have constant in my upper back and neck area. And that's where I carry all my tension. And, but that can't be a normal sign. And I've gotten so used to having this be a part of my daily life for so many years that I sort of just kind of went, well, that's how I am. But, I shouldn't have to live in pain every single day. I shouldn't always feel sore. And every time I try to work out, it kicks my butt. And I know I'm not that out of shape. I'm an active person. I'm not somebody who sits around sedentary all day long. I'm go, 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 go. And then the minute I sit still, I fall asleep. So,
Follow your intuition, Jessica. If
what's
that's
that?
Follow your intuition.
Absolutely. And, it's funny because my intuition has said all along that there's something going on where I'm not flushing out toxins. And I've always suspected it's the liver. And now that I'm learning more about this, it makes so much sense, because it also relates to the whole estrogen puzzle I've been trying to figure out with these hormonal migraines. That all is connected to how the liver functions. So, I'm hoping that maybe I've found a key to a puzzle. We'll see in a few weeks,
I want to thank you for this list. And do you mind if I share that with my hematologist?
Oh, absolutely. Feel free to share this with whoever you want. And that's why I put it in the chat for you guys. If you'll like, I'll also include it in the email that I send out to recap our meeting today.
Thank you very, very much.
Of course, you're welcome. And here, I'm going to actually go
I
back
put
to
some of this up, but I haven't put it all together like this. So it's
yeah,
very
well, I had like a million sticky notes all over the place. And I was like, I think I'm going to put this in a useful list for everyone instead of like, having it be the way it is. So, cause it was sort of a mess, but that's how my ADD brain works.
And I appreciate being able to talk to each one of you, because I've gotten something positive from each of you today.
Awesome.
And that's just knowing other people are sort of dealing with this. You know, my husband wants to think, oh, you just take an aspirin and that's all you have to do. And I was thinking, okay, well, you know, there's a little bit more to this.
Yeah, there's a lot more to it.
You know, just hearing your stories and knowing that that you're all dealing with this in your own ways, but also that desire not to go to those chemo drugs. And I think that's great. I felt the same way from the get-go, and I didn't have anyone to bounce off ideas like what's high. My hematologist said anything over 350 is high, but no,
Wow.
not
It
necessarily.
is, but for someone with our condition, it's not high. You know,
Right.
I'd love to be where Clark is right now.
Yeah, no, that's
my-
I'd love to be where you are too.
Well,
Like,
I went back up. I was 634 on my last test. So I went back up in the 600s. I was so happy to get in the fives, but then I had this car accident, and it's really kind of, it's caused a lot of more additional inflammation, and I think that's part of it. So, you know, the last 2 times they were 600s, and I'm like, man, I was doing so good. But I've also discovered some new things. You know, I'm starting this black cumin seed. I'm also going to go back to my intermittent fasting, and then I'm going to try these bile salts. So I've got 3 new things I'm adding in. I also had slowed down. I have to be honest. You know, financially, it's been really tough to keep up with my medical cannabis, all my herbs and everything. I'm not working right now. I'm on unemployment, and I've been trying to find another full-time, but I just haven't really found anything that fits. And to be honest, it's difficult to go back into a full-time knowing that I'm going to be down 3-4 days a month with migraines, you know? But I wasn't taking my cannabis oil for probably about 2 to 3 weeks before my last blood test. So that also could have contributed. And so I've gone back to taking it again, because obviously I was actually thinking for a while there that maybe just turmeric alone would do it. And maybe I wouldn't have to afford this expensive cannabis oil. And that's why I kind of did that little bit of an experiment just to see. But now that they went back up, I know I need to, you know, stick to it. So I have for the last week, I've been back on my cannabis oil. And again, I've got some new herbs to take. So I'm anxious to see. My next hematology appointment, I think, is later this month, actually. My blood tests get done through my OB-GYN all the time. So I get to see them prior to, the 17th of June is my next hematology. So I should have results for you guys by then for sure.
How often do you get your blood done?
I'm every 6 weeks through my hematologist, or 6 weeks. I'm sorry. I'm every 3 months through my hematologist. I'm probably every month through my OB-GYN, because she thinks I'm premenopausal. She thinks that's what's causing the hormonal migraines. And so she's been testing me pretty frequently to see where my hormone levels are, although she's not an endocrinologist. So she hasn't really given me any answers. And to be honest with you, I feel like she's just kind of racking up the insurance, because she has me come in every week or every 2 weeks. And I don't know about you ladies, but I've never had an OB-GYN that wanted to see me that often, especially when I don't have any issues going on besides the migraines. You know what I mean? So like, it used to be, I'd only see them once a year, and it was, you know, pap and done. That was it. And all of a sudden she is like wanting to see me all the time, you know, swab and urine every week or every 2 weeks, blood work every 4 weeks, which is good because I can see my platelet counts. But at the same time, it's like, I'm not getting any answers out of her. I'm figuring out my puzzle, not her. She's not giving me any insight that's helped me through this at all. She wants to do is give me a flu shot, try to give me a hepatitis shot, try to get me to take the COVID shot. And she knows every time I'm like, nope, not going to happen. She did get me to do the hepatitis. Like last year I did the cycle of that. But other than that, I just don't do the flu shots. I don't want to take anything unnecessarily into my body that I don't feel I need. If I'm in a situation where, like, you know, you said, if you go into the 900s and my PCR or my ESR test comes back where it's high, then yeah, I would probably consider going on Hydrea for sure, but only if I really needed to, you know, and until that day, I'm going to try to do it as naturally as I can, you know, just because I feel like it's just my hunch, but I feel like I've had a much better quality of life for the last 10 years by not being on Hydrea.
Absolutely.
So,
into that.
yeah.
That's what I'm trying to avoid.
Yeah. Well, I think you need to go get that test.
Jackie,
Yeah.
get that ESR test. Let us know next time.
Yeah, I want to have it done
Yeah.
too.
I'm gonna reach out to because my my doctor's so fantastic. I just email her because I'm like, look, I can't keep paying $85 to telehealth. She's like, how much is your copay? I go 85. She goes, well, just email. I'm like, thanks.
Nice.
So she's really fantastic. I am going to bring that up. Thank you for
Yeah.
that, Clark.
Yeah,
I'm
Clark, that's
stop-
good information. Thank you so
that's
much.
great information. And I'm going
Yeah.
to stop taking the nattokinase.
Yeah, maybe take a break from that for a little while until we find out more about it, because I'm getting conflicting information on it. It might be great for us, but you know what? We're taking a lot of other good stuff. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
worry about it too much.
And I'm going to check into the chelation therapy and see if that's going to be helpful. Because as in your case,
Yeah.
Jess, you think it was something, very toxic in your childhood that brought this on.
Mhm.
And so if we can eliminate that from our bodies, that would be great.
Absolutely. When you said that it helps to reduce mercury and things like that, I mean, that's all possibilities. Heavy metal toxins are, also affect all these things. So, I mean,
As a young person too, a bunch of stuff,
yeah.
growing up and having the mosquito stuff sprayed all over you.
We used to drive, we used to get on our bikes and ride
chase
behind that stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, my mom did. My mom did. She would chase the trucks. She grew up in Hawaii, and she said she would chase the mosquito trucks and they would play behind them. Like,
Yeah, it's crazy.
You didn't know any better. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I drank tap water as a kid thinking that it was okay. I had no idea that fluoride was bad to be ingested. I thought it was good for you. I gave my babies when they were little, I breastfed. That was the best thing for them. But then the doctor would say, well, you got to give them water too. They can't just have milk. And so they would tell me to give them nursery water, which is basically fluoride water. And certainly it's good topically for your teeth, but it's a neurotoxin for the brain. And had I have known that, I never would have given that to my children. But we got to work with what we know. And that's why information is so key. And that's why, after talking to so many of you guys, I was like, I just need to start a group conversation where we can all talk together instead of me repeating the same things over and over, because I want everybody to benefit from this. And, what your naturopathic doctor tells you might be different than what mine. And then we can all research it together and figure out what's going to be best. And, I think it only helps us. And so I'm really, really grateful for every one of you that's come into my life. And, because even though I know some of you, think I'm helping you, you guys are helping me a ton too. So, this is definitely a two-way street. And one last thing before we wrap up, I wanted to offer to you guys that we only have a few of us on today, but every one of you guys that has called me has asked me about the whole cannabis thing and the CBD. And, I've spent the time to kind of explain it to you over the phone, but it's not really as thorough of an understanding as I think I could give you guys if I did like my little Cannabis 101 course or something like that. So I'm thinking about hosting a Zoom call where I specifically just do my training course. It's just a short little like 45 minute class. And then we do some questions at the end where I basically go over from start to finish how it works in the body, what are the reasons that you need to take it in certain forms, all that, so that you can get a better understanding of it. And it should help you guys with your situation, if, whatever you're using as far as CBD from hemp or cannabis, from actual cannabis oil.
Sign me
So-
up.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. Yeah. So if you guys are interested, I'll probably do that as a separate meeting. We'll just do a little training course. And then, I'm hoping that I can find like maybe some experts or naturopathic doctors that want to come on and do, like a short training on certain things that might be beneficial to us as well, because it's like some of these things I'm learning about, like the black cumin seed oil. I mean, I could do a whole class on that too, because I've learned so much about what it does for the body. It's amazing to me how one plant can heal so many different systems in the body. It's just amazing. And, turmeric is like that. This black cumin seed oil is like that. Cannabis is like that. There's so many of God's great gifts of, plant life on the planet that are actually super beneficial for healing our bodies. And so I think, if we can do deep dives into like one new herb each time we have a meeting or something, it might be beneficial for us all.
That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah, Jessica.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll start with cannabis and then we'll work from there. Maybe we'll do the black cumin seed next and, turmeric or whatever, and I can put together some of those. If anybody else, has a lot of information on a specific topic like that, just let me know. I'd love to have you do a class too, or, anybody that wants to contribute, we're all here to share. So.
Perfect.
Hey, speaking of sharing, Clark, real fast, and I know Jessica had mentioned this to me when I was talking to her, because I know you're Pennsylvania. The MPN specialist that you found and you were talking to in PA, where's the doctor and what's
They're at the Hillman UPMC Hillman Cancer Research Center. Very, very great hospital.
No, that's where my mom went when she had cancer. Because remember, I'm from Pittsburgh.
Okay, Mario Lemieux, remember he had the Hodgkin's disease, and they got him through it.
Started that.
And they're open. I mean, they got their way of seeing things, but they listen to the patient, and then they get your feedback and wait and see. I mean, I think Jessica's point: the longer you can wait and see, the better off you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing that UPMC. Okay. Because I was just thinking, if you really like the MPN specialist, whenever I go home, I'm hoping to finally see my dad after this I still haven't seen any of my family. So I'm hoping when I'm done with this job to go home to Pittsburgh and see my family.
That'd be awesome.
I was just thinking, if you really like that doctor, maybe I'd try to make an appointment with him.
Yeah, his name's Dr. James Rossetti.
Dr. James Rossetti.
And he's at the UPMC Cancer Center it's sort of like Oakland Shadyside area,
Mm-hmm. I've spent
plenty of parking, real nice, easy to get in and out. He does telemed too.
Okay.
Oh, that's
so you
cool.
might preliminary just tell him you're a friend of mine, I referred you, and that you can sort of tell him your story.
Yeah, I might just do that. Thanks, Clark.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Are you in Pennsylvania too, Jackie?
No, I'm in California.
Oh, what part?
Hermosa Beach, right outside of Los Angeles.
Okay.
But I'm from Pittsburgh and my sister lives in Chicago. So when I do this round in Pittsburgh, I'm going to do that. And then Chicago, I'm going to get to meet Jessica face to face because she has no choice.
Nice.
And because I'm freelance. So I've been fortunate. I mean, I didn't work for almost 6 months because of COVID.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I think we're losing you. Our screen froze up.
It froze, yeah.
Yeah.
I probably need to get off because my family's upstairs, but I did not want to miss this for the world. And I said, I'm really sorry, but I have to go downstairs right now.
Well, thank you for being a part of it. I really appreciate that you were able to make it today.
Oh,
you stimulated a lot of the conversation.
Absolutely.
Really.
Well, I'm a retired teacher. I just retired a year ago. So, I'm going to be researching everything too. And like I said, I appreciate all of you so much. And you've given me some hope, which is really what we all need.
Yeah.
Amen.
Hopes and prayers.
Amen.
Yeah.
Blessings on all of you.
Thank you.
Yes,
You
thank
too.
you so much. Okay.
Hey, Clark, do you want to finish us off with a quick prayer?
Yeah. Father, we just thank you for these precious people. Each of us, Lord, have great need of you, and we trust you and we seek you, Lord, and we ask for your guidance in everything we're doing independently with you and together as a team. And Lord, just give us more insight, not only for the benefit of our own health, but Lord, all those that we might be able to be a blessing to down the road. And again, thank you for Jessica putting us all together. And we ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Clark.
Thank you.
Okay, see you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. Thank you.